Hey, what is going on guys? Voltic here, welcome back to a brand new video, and on today's video I'll be giving you guys an extensive guide on how to complete the Proving Grounds Grandmaster Nightfall. For this week, as always, if you guys are brand new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss a video just like this, and leave a like. Anyways, let's get into it. To start things off, let's talk about the loadout that I decided to use for this Nightfall. For my kinetic weapon, I'm using the Hung Jury SR4 Adept. Of course, you can switch this with whatever weapon you want, and it has explosive payload, rapid hit, accurize rounds, fluted barrel with a reload masterwork, as well as an adept of big ones. The main reason I use this weapon is to shoot the enemies that are at a very long range, and well, this works. Next up, we have Ariana's Vow, which is really useful for the anti-barriers. There's also on-stops in this strike, so make sure to run a really good anti-barrier and unstoppable weapon. And if I'm being honest, Ariana's Vow is going to be a must for this strike. Of course, you can get away with using a slow fire rate assault rifle, so you know it can do that high damage and, you know, break those barriers, but Ariana's Vow is definitely going to be a must because there's a lot of barriers in this strike, and if I'm being honest, this is definitely a weapon you want to have if you want to make your life easier. Next up, we have our powerful weapon, and I decided to use Reed's Regret. It's going to be what I'm going to be using for unstoppable enemies, as triple tap firing line, and as well as liquid coils, hammer forge rifling, range masterwork, and a boss spec. Threaded needle can be a good option to use as well if you don't have a Reed's Regret. It's up to you, honestly, as long as it has a good damage output and it works for PvE really well. And once again, I want to recommend using Ariana's Vow for your secondary weapon, or energy weapon I should say, because when you get to the tank part, oh man, there's going to be a lot of barriers, and they're going to be tough to deal with if you don't have Ariana's Vow. Moving on to the armor, let's talk about the armor mods that I decided to use. For my helmet, I have elemental ornaments, I have hand cannon ammo finder, I have an intellect mod. For my gauntlets, I'm using Ursa Furiosa. It's a really good exotic, and if I'm being honest, you're definitely going to want 2 titans with Ursas because it's going to make your life so much easier. So what it does is it basically blocks damage with Sentinel Shield for more super energy, and let's just say you also make a lot of orbs, so it's really useful. And make sure to pair this up with Code of the Commander middle tree, and you're set to go to make unlimited orbs. Well, not unlimited, but a lot of orbs I should say, to help your teammates get their super energy back. And for the mods that I was using for my gauntlets, I have Unstoppable Fusion Rifle, which is good for the on-stop, Scout Rifle Loader, so I can reload my Scout Rifle faster, and a stat increase for my intellect. And for my chest piece, I'm using Taking Charge Concussive Dampener, which is good for those Cabal that start throwing, or should I say yeeting nades at you, so it should help out a lot. We have Sniper Damage Resistance, which is good for those snipers, aka those scions that are pieces of poop. And then we have Stat Increase, which is for intellect. For my leg armor, I'm using Elemental Light. I have Fusion Scavenger, so I can get more fusion ammo, or should I say linear fusion ammo. Then I have Recuperation, which is good, so I can get my health back when I pick up an orb. And then I have an intellect mod, which boosts up my intellect so I can get my super faster. Lastly, I have my Titan Mark, which has particle deconstruction as well as an intellect mod. And finally, for my super, I'm using Middle Tree Sentinel, Code of the Commander. It's a really useful super, and if I'm being honest, you're going to want 2 Titans running this with Ursas, and having 1 Warlock running Phoenix Protocol with a Well, or having a Stasis Warlock, or also Chaos Reach with Geomags. That might work out. Moving on to the people that I was playing with, we have Karma, and as you guys can see, I'm going to quickly zoom through the stats. If you want to slow it down to check out what armor mods he was using, well, you can do it by going on the YouTube feature and slowing out the video with the playback speed. And as you guys can see, he's using a Threaded Needle, Ariana's Vow for the anti-barriers, the Messenger for the on-stops, and Well of Radiance, and yeah, here you go, that's it. And for the next character, we have Jivery, but I can't really show you his stats. He was basically using the same armor that I was using, Ursa's, so we can get the super energy back and also defend ourselves against the enemies, because there's a lot of enemies that start aggroing on you, and Sentinel Shield is very nice. Anyways, he was using Vex Mythoclast for his weapon for the on-stops. He also had the Hothead as an arc weapon, and for his primary, he had a Blinding Grenade Launcher. And once again, I apologize I wasn't able to show you his character. He had to go after we did the Grandmaster. Probably should have recorded his armor when we started the Nightfall, so yeah, I apologize for that. Anyways, let's talk about some recommendations here. Like I said before, Ariana's Vow is definitely going to be the weapon to go with for this Nightfall, and it's all the burns too. It's Arc, Void, and Solar, so keep that in mind. And if I'm being completely honest, my recommendation for supers once again will be 2 Titans with Ursa's, Sentinel Shield, Code of the Commander, and 1 Warlock with either Phoenix Protocol and Well, or Stasis could work, but I would highly recommend Well for the most part if you want to play it safe and just have heals all the time. So Well is the way to go if you want to play it safe. Arc also works if you're trying to be a maniac and, you know, Geomag everything with your Arc Blast, so that's about it. And now we're starting off Proving Grounds. As soon as you spawn in, there are some enemies in front of you. You're not going to want to shoot them. Hug the left side and use your Sparrow by going into those cables. Once you get into the left side, you just walk and follow this path right over here and look for the Unstoppable, because we're going for Platinum. You're going to want to skip all those ads over there because they're not really that much of a big deal. So once you take down the Unstoppable, make sure to also watch out for those turns, because there are some turns in the left side where those cables are at. And let's just say those turns, well, they they do a lot of damage and you don't want to die because your teammates are not going to like that. As always, make sure to take cover, don't overextend, and play safe as much as possible. Once that turn is taken care of, to the right side there should be a barrier. Look for this barrier and melt him as quickly as possible so he doesn't run away and hide, and then you're gonna have trouble trying to kill him. Once that barrier is taken care of behind him, there should be another unstoppable, and he's basically hiding around there. If he's not there, then keep going to the top left and keep hugging the left, I should say, because well, there's cover there and you should be able to see the unstoppable from there and take him down. Once he's down, another boss should start spawning in after you clear all the ads that are there, and this little mini boss also has an unstoppable friend with him, so start getting rid of the phalanxes, the cabal, and then start focusing on the unstoppable. And once he's gone, well, start focusing on the boss and get him to around half health, because that's about as much as you can do. And once that happens, there should be enemies spawning to the left side right there. Make sure to take cover. It should be a little bit of a breeze if you're all focusing fire here. Just throw your grenades, everything you have, and it should be easy. Once all the enemies are killed around the boss, you're going to want your Titan to start pushing into the shield and popping his super so you can start covering, so you guys can start shooting the little shield that he has so you can blow it up and then start DPSing the boss very easily. And if for whatever reason you're someone that does not have a Titan when doing this Grandmaster, well, you're gonna have to do this technique, which is called the roundabout, or well, at least I call it that. And basically you're gonna have one person going inside shooting and the other person grabbing the attention of the boss, and keep doing this from front to the back, and yeah, it should eventually break the shield and then you can start DPSing. But once again, Ursas are definitely gonna be a priority for this strike. Just trust me when I say that. Do not keep running it, otherwise you're gonna have a terrible experience. Once the boss is dead, start pushing forward, and there should be 3 enemies at the end of the hall. Just take care of those 3 enemies, and once they're dead, keep going until you see the little drop area here, and just shoot enemies from this little drop area, and just make sure not to drop yet until you guys all have your supers, all of you guys are ready to go, and then drop and get ready for the mayhem. As soon as you drop, head over to the left side or right side if you want to do on the right side, is to basically repeat what we're doing on screen. And yeah, once you're there, make sure to drop your little well, start shooting the red enemies, start getting rid of the scions, then get your first Titan to start popping his Ursa Sentinel shield, and then do what I'm doing, basically pop it, hold it, and have your teammates shoot from that, and focus on the barriers, the enemies, the vehicles, whatever you see on site. Start getting rid of those enemies as fast as possible, because they can quickly start pushing you and you'll die. You need to do this as fast as possible, clearing the ads as fast as possible, and taking cover as much as possible as well. And once your Sentinel shield is at 15% super energy remaining, make sure to call it out and tell your teammate to start popping his super, so you guys can back and forth start, basically creating orbs and also having more Sentinel shields as well as orbs, or your Warlock, who can also put a well, Chaos Reach, even Stasis helps. So just make sure you're making orbs and going back and forth with trading the orbs so you guys can get your supers as quickly as possible back, and start using them and utilizing them so you guys can take cover from the enemies and also do damage to the enemies. And at the end, before you kill all the enemies, make sure to leave at least either one interceptor or the named scion that basically has a yellow bar and he has a name, so you can collect all the ammo and replenish everything that you need to replenish, such as your ammo, your super, so you can get ready for the next round, which is going to be even crazier. There's going to be 2 tanks that are going to spawn in, and this is where you're definitely going to want to start using your Sentinel shields to the max and making sure you do not make any mistakes here, because you can easily wipe, and let's just say you do not want to go to orbit. And this section, like I said before, starts getting crazier. There's going to be enemies who are going to start aggroing and start pushing towards you. If they start pushing towards you, such as those barriers, start calling out and make sure to focus fire on them before they eliminate you and make you go back to orbit. Clear ads and just take it easy, play it safe, and do not stress out. Make sure you're focused and start clearing those ads as fast as possible. Once all those ads are gone and you can start focusing on those tanks, well, take it easy, slow it down, and make sure not to overextend, because those tanks do one-shot you and they blast you to oblivion and you don't want to die. Ariana's Vow is definitely going to come handy in this section, because well, there's a lot of anti-barriers who are pushing you, rushing you, and let's just say making your life hell. Once you're done with all the ads there, well, you're on to the next section. Congratulations, by the way, because you got over the hardest part, if I'm being honest. As you go forward, there's going to be a few cabal there. There's only like 3 of them. They're not going to do that much damage, but make sure to play it safe as always so you can have as many reses as possible. Once you're gone, go to the bottom pit right there, and there's going to be an on-stop and a boss with a void shield, and he's going to be kind of annoying, so make sure to get rid of the on-stop as fast as possible so you don't die. And if you're a Titan, make sure to pop your Sentinel shield right here. It's really useful, and once all those ads are taken care of, grab the ball and drop it as soon as possible, because there's going to be a few enemies rushing in to slay you out, so make sure to dip out of there and take care of those enemies right there. Once they're taken care of, there's going to be an anti-barrier to your right, a turn to the left, and another turn to the left as well, so don't overextend too much, play it safe as much as possible, and just just take it easy right here. Once all the enemies are dead, make sure to grab the first ball and start putting it into the little system there. Once that ball is in there, you're basically going to want to repeat the same thing that you did before when you're grabbing the next ball, which is clearing out the enemies first, which there's an anti-barrier, a cyan, a turret there as well that spawns in. And once all those enemies are done and, you know, gone, well, start grabbing that ball. And again, those enemies are going to start rushing in. Take care of those enemies first and make sure to drop that ball. Start heading outside, and you can pop a super there if you want, if you have it as a tie-in, so you can shield your enemies from the enemies, because there's an anti-barrier as well as a few cabal there that can be kind of annoying. So once they're all dead, start grabbing the ball and get ready for the next section here. As soon as you place that ball, there's going to be enemies pushing you from that door right there in front of you. There's going to be a lot of those dogs which are going to rush you, so maybe another super here would be a great idea to pop as a tie-in. So use that and make sure not to push in too far, because there's a barrier as well as an unstoppable who is going to be rushing you with the dogs. So take it easy and don't push in too far, because, well, if you push in there, you can die and not be resible at all. Once all those enemies are dead in that elevator area, you're going to take the elevator and start going up and start getting ready for the boss phase. Make sure to grab as much ammo as you can and get ready for this boss phase, because it's going to get hectic once again. So here are a few tips before we get into the boss part. Make sure to shoot those fireballs that he shoots at you, because, well, those things can one-shot you. Make sure to clear out the enemies as well before you start damaging the boss. You're going to depend a lot on your sentinel shield, so make sure to be using that as well as your well. Nonetheless, once you're ready to go, click on the pedestal and it should give your whole fire team super energy, and you're basically super ready. I deeply apologize for that. You should start heading to this area right over here where I'm at, or the left area works as well, to be honest, but I like this area more. So there should be some enemies spawning to the right door, and to the left there should be an unstoppable 2 that spawns in around here while you're DPSing the boss, so make sure to be wary of that. If things start getting a little bit too hectic and you guys are seeing like you're getting into a pinch, start heading over to the right or left side, whichever side you decide to choose. Make sure to go to the opposite side by using the little tunnel system there that's under there. Don't step on the little ground there, because, well, it can burn you alive. Once you clear all the enemies, well, you're going to start focusing on the boss, and he's going to drop a shield like the other guy did in the beginning. So you can do the same thing you did with your sentinel shield and rushing behind your teammate, so you guys can start popping his little thing, or you can just wait it out and wait for him to stop sending those fireballs at you, and then do the little roundabout technique that I also spoke about in the beginning. That works as well. Once the shield goes down and you do enough DPS, he's going to start moving on to the little pad thing that he has over there, his little stadium, where he starts shooting more fireballs at you, and there's going to be more enemies spawning. Make sure to go to the back area so you guys can take cover right there and be safe from the fireballs, and also those unstoppables who are going to start rushing you in a few minutes after you clear all the ads. Once you get rid of all those ads, you're going to want to either wait it out for those fireballs to disappear and do the roundabout technique, or just go in balls deep with the sentinel shield and start shooting his little thing again. And now you're in the final phase of the boss. He's going to start blasting you with his gun that he has. He's going to start shooting fireballs at you, and then you also have the enemies that are going to start zooming at you as well and doing a lot of damage. So make sure to cycle your sentinel shield here, is really helpful, or well, could work as well so you can heal. Personally, I would go after the low tier enemies first, and then once they're taken care of, I would go after the big dog and go balls deep on him and do as much DPS as possible so I can wipe him out and get this strike completed. And there you go, you did it. You completed Proving Grounds. Congratulations, you probably got Conqueror Gilded, at least I think so. If you did, congratulations. If you didn't, well, don't really worry, because those other strikes are coming back and the season is super long, so you have all the time in the world. Nonetheless, enjoy your palindrome, and thank you so much for watching. And if you did find this helpful, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to never miss a video just like this. And I'll catch you guys, as always, in the next video. Peace.